This video is sponsored by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PACKERMAN to save 10% on any order. What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packerman. Welcome to this edition of The Fuel, where in this episode we're going to be talking about the 2023 Coca-Cola 600 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, or rather we'll be doing it kind of in passing, because there is much bigger fish to fry than the Coca-Cola 600 itself, for obvious reasons. So, how did I feel about the race itself? The race itself, for the most part, was alright. When they were actually racing, the racing was actually really good. But this wasn't, the end-all, be-all of races this year, because the first and third stages were pretty damn good. Lots of good racing. And the finishes in both of those stages were good, because you had William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell battling for the Stage 1 win right at the end. Bell actually ended up scraping the wall coming to the green and white checkers, so that was pretty cool. And then Stage 3 was also pretty good. Kevin Harvick was up there for a while. Ryan Blaney, of course, as well. And Blaney actually managed to hold off Reddick and Truex to win Stage 3 in that one. So, stages 1 and 3 I thought were pretty damn good. Stages 2 and 4, on the other hand, were a fucking mess. Because in Stage 2, let's see, how many cautions were in Stage 2? 4. Including a red flag for rain, so we had a rain delay on top of all that shit. And of course it has well, let me put it to you this way. It has a particular incident that we're going to be going more in depth with here in a minute. And then Stage 4, it felt like it was even sloppier than Stage 2, because you had cautions fucking galore. 5 or 6 total cautions during Stage 4. And then on top of that, the finish was a dud. Blaney managed to get out to the lead. I mean, the last 20 laps ran on the green, so we didn't have overtime or any of that fucking nonsense. But the finish was a dud. Blaney managed to get out to about a second and a half lead and was able to hold William Byron at bay. So he ends up winning the race, which, I am happy for him, because it's been almost 2 years since his last win. And he even celebrated by going into the crowd, which was the same thing that Joseph Newgarden did when he won the Indy 500. And Blaney was pretty emotional afterwards, because it had been a while, and I'm pretty sure he had been hearing the criticism of him not being able to win races lately. So how do you shut people up? By winning one of the biggest crown jewels, the Coca-Cola 600. So that's a pretty damn good job. Will that translate into more victories this season? I hope so, because I do like Ryan Blaney. He's an Ohio boy. So anytime he goes to victory lane, that's always going to be a thumbs up for me. So, yeah. I actually enjoyed the fact that Ryan Blaney did get the victory, so good job for him. But now let's get into the spicy parts of this race and what happened in the week afterwards. First, let's take a look at the race stats real quick. We had 31 overall lead changes in this race, so very competitive. I think that's the most in the Coke 600 in quite some time. 7 pure lead changes, 13 caution flags, which, I mean, it is a 600-mile race. So I'm going to cut a little bit of slack in terms of the double-digit cautions, but like I said, stages 2 and 4 were a mess. There were 4,291 green flag passes, which came out to 13.5 per lap on average, and Ryan Blaney led the most laps at 163. So, you notice by the title of the episode, the disrespect is real, because there were several incidents during this race that certainly caught a lot of people's attention. during the red flag, the first one we're going to talk about, during the red flag, this was actually caught from a fan's camera, and then Fox ended up broadcasting it on the air. Apparently there was a scuffle between Eric Almirola and Bubba Wallace because apparently Bubba Wallace flipped Eric Almirola the finger while they were racing, and then when Almirola went to confront him about it, Bubba, I guess, started cussing and, you know, doing all that shit at him, and that's when Almirola shoved him away, and it was like, I'm not going to take that shit. And then I like how Bubba Wallace said afterwards, yeah, that's what happens when you're two-faced. Yeah, like you're in any fucking position to be talking, dude. See, that's the problem with you motherfuckers nowadays. I mean, especially Bubba Wallace. I mean, he doesn't know how to control his fucking emotions. He really doesn't. And one of these days, it's going to bite him in the ass. I mean, it already bit him in the ass last year, and it's pretty obvious he didn't learn his fucking lesson. One of these days, he's going to learn the meaning of fuck around and find out, because I'd like to see him try that stupid shit on Chastain, because Chastain will fucking cold cock his ass. I mean, we've already seen that he's willing to do that. But the real talking point of this week is the fact that it has not been a good week to be a driver named Chase. First of all, Chase Elliott. He got suspended for this week at Gateway. And the reason being is, while he was racing with Denny Hamlin in Stage 2, Hamlin, off Turn 4, put him into the wall, and Elliott decided to retaliate and right rear hook Hamlin into the wall. Now, obviously, I thought this was an absolutely dumb fuck move on Elliott's part. And what makes it even more disgusting is the fact that you have these Chase Elliott dick suckers that are just jumping through hoops, and it's just to defend this guy, saying, oh, you know, it wasn't on purpose, oh, his car was broke, or, you know, all this other dumb shit. It's like the amount of mental gymnastics that you have to do to come to the conclusion that Chase Elliott was either justified in what he did or it wasn't his fault is absolutely fucking sickening. Okay? I don't give a fuck who you are, where you're from, whether you're the most popular driver or not. You do not right rear hook somebody. I don't give a fuck what the reason is. And I'll give you a good example why. And because this incident that I'm about to tell you about actually happened at Charlotte as well. Do any of you remember Blaze Alexander? Granted, this happened 20 years ago, but just want to kind of throw that out there. Do you know the name Blaze Alexander? He was a former ARCA driver. And it was in a race at Charlotte when he was racing against Kerry Earnhardt. And they were racing pretty hard. And then it was either coming to 2 laps to go or coming to the white flag. The two of them ended up getting together while racing for the lead. And Kerry Earnhardt ended up accidentally right rear hooking Blaze's car. And Kerry's car ended up going upside down, whereas Alexander's car went head on into the wall pretty much at full speed. And bear in mind, this is before the era of the safer barriers and the Hans devices. Alexander did not survive the crash. That's just one relevant example of why it is wrong to right rear hook somebody. Doesn't matter who it is. So, in my opinion, NASCAR was justified in suspending Chase Elliott for a race for this incident. And here's the other thing. If they wouldn't have suspended Chase Elliott over this, they would have lost all integrity whatsoever. But I will give props to NASCAR for sticking to, you know, the precedent that they set at Kansas last year after what Bubba Wallace did to Kyle Larson, which was a very similar situation. Larson kind of forced Bubba up into the wall, and Bubba right rear hooked him. But let's not get it fucking twisted, okay? Chase Elliott was definitely in the wrong for right rear hooking Denny Hamlin. But let's not go saying that Denny Hamlin is innocent in all this either. Because he's just as much of a fucking idiot as Elliott was. And why do I say that? Well, for one, if he wouldn't have forced Chase Elliott into the wall off turn 4 like he did, this wouldn't even be an issue to begin with. Second off, Hamlin, in his post-race interview, basically said that, he basically right rear hooked me, that shouldn't be allowed, and he should have to sit for a race. Hamlin should not be the one to be calling for someone's suspension. And I say that because he is a competitor. He is a competitor to Chase Elliott. And in my opinion, it's pretty fucking shitty and not to mention pussy of you to call for someone else's suspension. That's not your decision to make. That is NASCAR's decision to make. What I would have said in this situation is that I know what I would do in NASCAR situation, but it's not at my discretion to make. I'll leave that up to NASCAR instead of just flat out calling for Elliott's suspension. You don't do that shit as a competitor, because it honestly makes you look like a fucking pussy. And then on top of that, he also said that Elliott threw a temper tantrum, because that's usually what he does. I can understand Hamlin being frustrated at Chase Elliott for right rear hooking him into the wall, but let's be completely honest here. Denny Hamlin is the last person that should be talking about throwing a temper tantrum, because this motherfucker throws more temper tantrums than I can even count. Okay? And he even doubled and tripled down on this shit because he has his own fucking podcast now called Actions Detrimental, and he was going on there and he was still bitching up the storm. See, that's the problem with these fucking drivers nowadays, especially in the Cup Series. All of these fucking drivers are nothing but a bunch of pussbag, bitch-made motherfuckers. Because the only thing these motherfuckers know how to do is go on social media and bitch and whine and moan when they should be taking care of business in the back like it used to be in the good old days. Not this pussy-ass bullshit that we've been seeing from these drivers nowadays. Makes me want to fucking puke. So yeah, Denny Hamlin is the last fucking person to be calling someone out for their temper tantrum. Because remember Martinsville 2021 when Alex Bowman accidentally spun him out while they were battling for the lead? What did Hamlin do afterwards? Oh, he just drove around to the front stretch where Bowman was and was basically trying to use his car to, knock into Bowman's car, and was basically being a whiny ass bitch. And then he was whining and bitching up a storm after he basically, after the whole deal where he basically admitted that he wrecked Ross Chastain on purpose at Phoenix. And then he got all whiny. He said, well, why would NASCAR penalize me for it? For doing that? Because you went and blabbed it on your own podcast, you dumb fuck! Like, I swear to God, these NASCAR drivers put their mouth before their fucking asshole. I mean, none of these motherfuckers seem to... I honestly think that some of these hard hits that these guys have been taking over the years have been destroying their fucking brain cells, because it's pretty clear that these dumb fucks just don't think before they speak. And it makes them look like a bunch of fucking blithering idiots. So in closing on that one, Elliott is a fucking idiot for right rear hooking Denny Hamlin into the wall, and Denny Hamlin is a fucking idiot for running Elliott into the wall and then basically being a giant fucking pussy about it afterwards. And that's what I got to say about that. And then On top of that, NASCAR dropped the bombshell yesterday, or at the time that I'm recording this, and it actually dropped it on, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday, actually. That Chase Briscoe got hit with a bombshell penalty because NASCAR took their car back to their research and development center, and they discovered a counterfeit part on the 14 car. Apparently, it was a counterfeit Let me try that again. Apparently, it was a counterfeit NACA duct on the car. It wasn't like a modification of a single source part. It was a counterfeit part. They basically tried to pass it off as a single source part. So they ended up getting an L3 penalty, which ended up being 120 points, driver and odor points, minus 25 playoff points, and that carries through, by the way. Crew chief has been suspended for 6 weeks, and they also get a $250,000 fine. And apparently Stuart Haas is not going to appeal it because Greg Zipadelli said that it was basically a quality control lapse on their part. So they basically admitted fault for it. But you see, this is what I'm talking about. And why I think this season has been so fucking shitty as far as NASCAR is concerned. The racing has not been that good this year. There's been a few fleeting moments here and there. But what's been dominating the headlines this year has been just all the negative aspects. Injuries, drivers getting into fights, seemingly on a constant basis now, being nothing but a bunch of whiny-ass bitches. And then on top of that, cheating fucking galore. I mean, you had Hendrick Motorsports getting hit not once but twice. The first one got pretty much completely eradicated, but then the second one, they got hit hard. And then you have this fucking penalty for Chase Briscoe. Chase Elliott getting suspended for a race for right rear hooking somebody. I mean, this year has been in the fucking shitter. And while there have been some bright spots here and there, this season has been fucking dog shit. I mean, I said this a couple weeks ago. I'm honestly getting 2015 vibes from this season. Because, what should be dominating the headlines is good racing. That's what we want, right? Instead of all this stupid fucking bullshit that's been permeating this entire season. The penalties, the fights, and all that other shit. And honestly, it's getting fucking tiresome. Here's a message for all you fucking drivers and teams and everybody else in NASCAR. Get your fucking shit together. Okay? Because this is a fucking embarrassment to this sport. I mean, there's a reason why you're the fucking laughing stock of motorsports and all this fucking bullshit. I mean, it's not helping your case. Not to mention the fact that a penalty like this on Stuart Haas is not exactly going to be doing these teams any favors when it comes to the revenue sharing negotiations that they've been having with NASCAR. I mean, you honestly think that's going to help them in this case? It's fucking ridiculous. Shit needs to fucking change. We're halfway through the regular season and it's been nothing but dog shit. NASCAR, teams and drivers, get your fucking shit together. That's all I got to say. I'm done with this fucking shit. Let's move on to what's going to happen this weekend with Gateway and the Portland Road Course race. So, my final rating for the Coca-Cola 600 is a 5 out of 10. What's happening, ladies and germs? Thank you for watching tonight's video. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description box below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe if you want to continue watching great content like you saw today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out.